Tattoo inks. One of the most interesting developments in body painting is the airbrush. I don't generally use one, but the paints that have been developed are fabulous, especially the water-resistant ones. The same ink is used for film tattoo work, and here I will use it in its most simple form, a tattoo transfer. And from there we'll go into creating layers of colours, all of them as transparent or opaque as you want. A cosmetic ink is applied to a very, very fine paper and is released onto the skin by using isopropyl alcohol on cotton wool. The transfer of the tattoo can then be filled in. Here I'm using a liquid tattoo ink with a very fine brush, filling in the detail just to create the illusion of somebody having a real tattoo. If you powder this afterwards, it sits very well on the skin and does actually look real. The inks also come in a dry palette, which is activated by isopropyl alcohol. It works in exactly the same way. And by applying more or less of the colour, it can be more or less transparent. And it's surprisingly robust. I'm using the dry tattoo ink with IPA and a very broad brush to create a transparent blue ground on the model's back. Large sweeping strokes of transparent colour so that I really can see the skin beneath. On top of this, I'm going to use other colours. I'm using an alcohol-based suspension liquid, and I'm going to hold these pigments in it. It's quite beautiful how you can work here. By mixing the pigments with this alcohol-based suspension liquid, it's for airbrush, this liquid, I can now paint a velvety layer of petals onto her back. The colours are darker when wet, and as they dry, they'll lighten. So do remember that with your design. They can be as transparent or as dense as you would like. I find this transparent quality rather beautiful. It allows you to go into a whole different way of painting on the skin, the fact that you can still see the skin through it. The delicacy of it is quite marvellous. The brush is clean with the isopropyl alcohol. And I'm now going to apply yet another layer on top. I'm still using this alcohol-based airbrush medium, but I'm now going to put a layer of iridescence onto my petals. You can see that it's building again in layers. And as the light catches it, it's rather beautiful. And I'm now using a thicker glitter, again in this alcohol suspension medium, just to make these little dots on the edges of my creatures. And I'm going to bring the pink back up. It's got slightly lost. I'm just going to intensify the squiggles. But notice how one can go over and over, layers and layers. I could keep on going and building this up. And yet it's totally transparent, very, very soft, very light, and extremely durable.